Welcome, everybody. It's my Sunday live stream for In the Garden Tarot. Today we're doing something different, something fun. Fun for me, maybe fun for you. I have placed out here on the table all of my oracle cards, including a set of tarot cards that are just the major arcana. And if you say hi, if you come in and say hi, I will pull one of the cards and read you the message of the oracle card. Now that is completely free, but if you would like to do a weekly reflection tarot reading, I am also offering that for a $3 donation. And I just realized I need to go talk to Nightbot. So if you come in and I look like I'm ignoring you, it's just because I don't see you on the screen. It'll take me a second. I need to fix Nightbot. Make sure they're giving the right messages to you. I'll give you a new message. Whoop. I meant to make my weekly reflection the image for this, and I forgot to do that. So you can go to my video choices uh, on my site, and one of the choices is a quick video that it talks about what the weekly reflection covers. Hi, this is Teresa. Hi. There we go. So I've got that running now. Welcome in. Hi there. I'm going to pull a card for you. You ready? Random, random, random. Let's dig deep here. Your message is great news. I have something amazing to tell you. Looks like someone in your life is going to give you some great news. So that is your oracle card for today, my friend. Hi, Zara. Shall I pick an oracle card for you? Let's dig deep here. Here we go. If you didn't get something you really wanted at this time, if you feel stuck or feel like things are not going according to your plans, know that something bigger and better is coming. It's something filled with divine magic that couldn't come into your life if you were to receive what you are asking for now. You're welcome, dear. And that was yours, Zara. I gotta gather these guys up. I don't want them to fall off my table, so that would be embarrassing. How you guys doing? I don't know if either you're welcome, hon. Hope to see you again. I am. How's your Sunday going? Are you having a good Sunday? I'm pretty good. I was a little down in the dumps yesterday, I must admit. But I've kind of made a decision, kind of a major decision in my life, and I am putting stuff on eBay to sell. I'm trying to downsize everything I own. As a matter of fact, I just put 6 tarot decks on eBay, just a lot of them. Because I think I'm gonna be downsizing. I'm gonna be moving sometime in the next 6 months or so. Well, drowsy and lying down, as long as it's not a bad, like your sick thing, that's a good thing to do on a Sunday. It's a very good thing to do on a Sunday. I've been eating way too much chocolate cake this weekend, I think. Zara, do you read tarot? Do you have like a YouTube tarot? You do not. Okay. I was just curious. I was looking to see if, because it'll tell me whether you have a page if I click on these 3 little dots next to your name. Yeah, I had well, I think you were there, or you may have watched the video where I was talking about I had a conversation with my dad yesterday. And then I had a conversation with my brother this morning, and that kind of clinched it for me, I think. The Just a matter of I got to renew my passport because I've got about 6 months left on it, and I've got to put some money aside for an emergency fund. You know, it is definitely something that I think is worthwhile. Um, I don't know, like I've actually taught tarot classes. When I lived in Austin, Texas, I used to work at a shop called Celebrations, and I taught a couple of group tarot classes. I don't do it anymore. Maybe it's something I should offer. Because I've thought about like creating a buy me a coffee, like a membership thing, And one of the things I would offer is like, teaching on how to read tarot. Do you think that's something you'd be interested in if it were like, I don't know, like $5 a month? Get like one free reading a month and some instruction on tarot and whatnot. Yeah, I'm planning on, I mean, the plan is, and I'm doing air quotes here, is right around Halloween, I might start offering a membership subscription through Buy Me a Coffee. And there'll be a lot more. It will just be one straight amount. It won't be like tiered because so everyone will have access to everything that's available. And I haven't quite fleshed it out yet. You're the first person really I've talked to about it. Aren't you lucky? You caught me in a targeted mood. But I've been fleshing it out, thinking about what can I offer people on a membership basis. Because I don't know if you've ever read my little bio intro at the beginning, but I've been reading tarot for almost 30 years now, and so and plus I'm older, so there's this kind of this feeling like you want to give back or you want to like give what you know to everyone. That is kind of is motivating to me. And then also I need to put more energy and effort into my YouTube channel, which I'm trying, my friend. I'm trying. And my online presence. I'm retired, but Social Security certainly isn't cutting it. So I need to go someplace where I can afford to live on what I get and maybe work online. But yeah, well, do you have a shop near you that sells decks? I don't know what part of the world you live in. I live in like a desert of mystical things. Of course, you can order things on Amazon now. But it's better if you can go and like actually handle the decks and look at them when you choose a deck that you want to work with. I would say that it's my preference, not necessarily right or wrong, that you pick just like a Rider Waite deck to start with to learn it, and then from there you can expand onto some of the fancier decks because there's a lot of artwork out there. And I will tell you that tarot cards are like tattoos. Once you get one, you start collecting them. They're just such beautiful artwork. I used to, like I said, I used to work at a shop in Austin, Texas, and yeah, I'm not in the deep, deep South. I'm in West Tennessee, but yeah, what part of Georgia? Like Atlanta? I've been to Atlanta a couple times. I think that nowadays you can go online and like type in the name of a deck, and you can at least see some of the cards. When I got my first deck, I went to a shop called Book People, which is in Austin, Texas, and they had like drawers where there were open decks where you could actually look at and handle the decks that they sold. That's ideal. And then when I worked at Celebration, we had the same thing. We had an open deck that people could look at in order to make the decision. Um, but not everybody has that option. Yeah. Is it hot over there in Georgia? Or we have had it cooled off for a little while, but it got super hot again. Yeah, me too. I live in a town about it's really close to the Mississippi River. I think there's 20,000 here, more or less. So anyway, so I posted some stuff on eBay. I'm gonna post some more stuff. I'm just trying to sell what I can to build up the money for the trip and um, unclutter. And I need to, like I said, I need to renew my passport. Yeah, we do too. It's not as humid here as it was like in China where I lived, but definitely. Oh my gosh, you know where it's really humid, which surprised me, was Pittsburgh. I went out and visited my friend in Pittsburgh a little while ago, and oh my gosh, it was miserable, humid there the entire time I was. That was in June. But you have it. You guys have it humid all the time, don't you? Like even in the winter. Say hi if you want to get an Oracle card. Yeah, I have lived in many different places in the United States, but West Tennessee, this is kind of where I call home now. If you're familiar, I'm about 90 miles from Memphis, Tennessee. My grandparents, both sets of my grandparents are from this part of the world. And separately, I don't know if they knew each other before. They both families moved up to Chicago during right after the war, the World War II, and that's where my mom and my dad met. But eventually, over the years, my whole family pretty much has moved back down here. But I grew up in California. You probably noticed the lack of an accent. Lived in California. I lived in Austin, Texas. I lived in a little bit in Erie, Pennsylvania. A little in Detroit. I lived in New Orleans for a little while. Lived in China, obviously. I think I've talked about my life in China. And now I'm looking at possibly moving to Colombia or Uruguay or Guatemala or possibly Argentina. I've thought about going to what's the name of that, Albania, because how was New Orleans? I love the vibe of that city, but I could not afford to live there. I was the what was happening. What happened was is that I have a friend who lives there, and he had an Airbnb, and when COVID hit, he couldn't rent out the Airbnb anymore, so he was renting out the room with the private bath to renters. So I rented that room for him from him for 3 months towards the end of the COVID lockdown, and I loved New Orleans. I wish that I could live there, um, but I couldn't. I tried for a little while I was still staying with him to try and find like a roommate situation, and even with sharing an apartment or a house with someone was just way out of my price range. Of course, back then I wasn't on Social Security. I was in my late 50s. Was it really that? It's weird that it was that long ago. It was like 57, I think, at the time. So I was teaching English online, um, and that was my income source. Not a lot of money, but money. Yeah. But I love the city. I love the vibe. I even thought about like, out on, I think it's Jackson Square. You can like register with the city and you can go out on Jackson Square and just plop yourself down and do readings for people for donate. You call it a donation, but donations or whatever, and just whoever's there, whatever tourist is there, you can do readings. I don't know, maybe I need to reconsider New Orleans, but I've kind of given up on all the United States as far as affordability. I just not on my current income for sure. Do you have family there where you live? Yeah. Well, I assumed somewhere in Georgia. I don't know. I went to, what did I go to in Georgia once? I went to a retreat. It was like a goddess, female goddess kind of oriented retreat thing. It was at a place, it was private property, like a private campground. And it was outside of Atlanta, but we drove, we flew to Atlanta and then we rented a car and drove to wherever that was. It was a beautiful country. And then another time more recently, because that was more than a decade ago, but I'd say more recently, like in the last 6 years, I did go with a friend to a shop in a town that's outside of Atlanta. And it was I would probably describe it as like a voodoo kind of shop. I've lived in a lot of places. Um, I I was born in Chicago. I lived there till I was 6. I grew up in Los Angeles area. I lived in Austin, Texas for a while, about 9 years. I've lived here in Tennessee on and off and I've lived in Knoxville. I lived in Nashville. I've lived here probably on and off for the last 14 years. I've lived in New Orleans. I've lived in Detroit. Um, I have lived very briefly in Erie, Pennsylvania. And of course, I lived in China for 2 years. I taught English there. I've been to the Philippines, just as like a vacation. Um, Back when I graduated from high school, which was 1980, I went to kind of on a little bus tour, a European bus tour thing. As a matter of fact, Starry Eye Tarot, who is usually on here as well, she has her own, excuse me, her own channel. She is in Paris right now. She's taking a trip to Paris, and I'm kind of envious. I don't have anything that holds me to one place, I guess. I mean, I like having my own space. That's super important to me. But time and fate has just had me moving around. Do you love traveling? Do you travel a lot? Well, get yourself a passport, friend. It's not cheap, but it's good for 10 years. That's the first step in any kind of you know international traveling. I think that it's valuable to go out and experience other countries. Um, Best if you go and actually live there for a while, but even just like visiting other countries, you get a different perspective, a very different perspective on things. And once you do it, it's like that fear of being in a strange country kind of goes away. You realize that people are the same wherever you go, and that, you'll be okay. You'll be able to communicate with people, and you'll be able to get food to eat and a place to stay, and if you're there long enough, even make some friends, which is nice. Some people do that slow travel thing. Have you heard of that? Well, if you have a job where you can take it with you all over the world, then slow travel is definitely something you might want to explore if you like. I have two issues with slow travel. One of them is that every single creator that I've looked at, slow travel is where you travel to different countries, but you stay for more than just a few days. Like, for example, my example, I might go to Mexico and say Mexico allows you to stay there for up to 3 months. You rent an apartment and you stay there and you work like online or whatever for however long they let you stay. Let's say it's 3 months. And then you go to another country like Guatemala and you stay there for 3 months. And then you go to another country that maybe lets you stay for 6 months. And then you go, so you travel all around the world wherever you want to go. And when you get to a place, you get an apartment and you live there just like a regular person, buy your groceries, meet people, make friends, do things for however long you're allowed to stay there, without, and it depends on the country. It varies from one country to the next. But every time I see it, it's usually a couple, a husband and wife. I've never seen same-sex partners, but I'm sure they're there too. Um, and that's the first problem I have. And the other problem I have with it is that I don't know that I have the right temperament to keep moving around. Even though you're staying for 3 months, I think I would prefer to pick a country and settle, especially since I'm old enough to get a retirement visa where I can stay long term in a country. However, Albania, it lets American citizens stay there for an entire year just with your visa, just with your passport. You don't have to get a special visa. So a lot of Americans go there. But you should look into it. There's lots of YouTube videos about it. Like you could just type it in. Hey there, Sonalia, you ready for your free oracle reading? Here it comes. I'm going to reach into the free oracle pile and I'm going to pick you a card. And the card is, Sonalia, I feel like you keep getting like negative cards, but here we go. It says gaslight. I will deliberately manipulate your perception of reality until you are doubting your own experiences. Oh, you better watch out. That oracle card's telling you there's someone out there trying to mess up your life for you. And they don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. You do not deserve that. Nobody does. But it's good, what is it? Forewarned is forearmed. Is that what the expression is? I'm going to gather all my cards together again because they're sliding. I don't want them to slide off the table. Yeah. But anyway, since I'm retired, I have a little bit more freedom with the slow travel because, my Social Security just gets deposited into my account automatically. It's a set amount. But I don't, and a lot of countries offer a visa for long-term stay to people who are retired. So there's a little bit more option there. But there's a lot of younger people like yourselves that, that do it. They're called, what's it called? Not vagabond. Oh gosh, it'll come to me. People, we used to call them backpackers when I lived in China. They're people who they work from their computer and so they just travel around the world. And there's like certain hot spots. Like Medellin, I think, is a hot spot. Chiang Mai, which is in Thailand, is a hot spot. But that's for you young folks. What are they called? I almost had it. Oh, I hate that when my brain stops working. They are called nomads. Have you heard of people who travel and work and nomads? You're welcome, Sonali. Yeah, so same thing, slow travel, nomads. I think the only difference is nomads are a specific group of people, a certain age group, and are working at a certain kind of job. And slow travel was more like going and staying and living in a country for a long period of time, renting an apartment. I don't know what the distinction would be, to be honest, now that I think of it. I had this rather enlightening moment yesterday. Would you like to hear about it? I was watching this YouTuber who is kind of like talking about very, very abstract philosophical concepts. And they talked about like the work of the spirit, the work of, oh, what's the word? Like evolving as a creature, I guess, of the universe. And of course, something a lot of people already know about, they've heard about, is the shadow self. You have to work on your shadow issues, those things in you that you deny or repress, and so they come out in a negative way. But then they said, which I think is interesting, they've done shadow work. But then they said, but the next level is to uh, work with your anima and animus. And if you are not sure with those terms, if you're a woman, it's the anima is the outward you, and then the animus is the inward you. It's like your inward male energy. And with a man, it's the opposite. It's your inward female energy. And they were talking about how if you don't deal with it, you'll keep experiencing it, right? So I got to thinking about the kinds of men that I'm attracted to that are not healthy relationships. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I picking these people because of my whatever's wounded in my animus, in my inward male energy? Because you ever notice we tend to pick the same kind of wrong person, like same problem, different package. And I thought maybe it has to do with that. I'm kind of done with that now, picking any kind of person, man. So it doesn't matter anymore. But it made me think about it because it seems like you always pick similar problems. I don't know. But anyway, here I am babbling. If you've entered and you haven't already asked for your free Oracle card, just say hi, and I will pull a card for you, my friend. Yeah, cycle. It is a constant cycle. A friend of mine said once, though, it's like a spring. It's a cycle in your going in a circle, yes, but each time you're circling upward until eventually you reach a, I guess, a healthier point or higher way of living. And some people who aren't working on their spiritual growth spiral downward. I think it can be beneficial. It is beneficial, but I think that sometimes the work itself can become a bit of a problem. Like I've given up my obsession with eating chocolate donuts for my obsession for reflecting on how awful a person I am and how I need to fix it. I see that happen too. But I think it's always beneficial to be self-aware, and a lot of people are not self-aware. It is, a lot of people are not self-aware. I noticed that. Well, I think it would be hard not to notice. And I think that sometimes we're just not self-aware in certain areas of our lives, or we're blind in certain areas of our lives. But I don't know. I guess to be aware of the effect that you have on your environment and the people around you, not necessarily like criticizing yourself at all, because you can have a positive effect, but just be aware of how you affect the people around you and your environment, and how you contribute to your own situation. um, it's not just you that causes your situation, but how do you contribute and what do you have control over? I think that's important things to be aware of, to be self-aware. um, I don't have a lot of knowledge on astral projection. I have done it once by accident when I was very, very young. I would have been like probably a preteen, well, probably around 12 or 13 years old. Um, but I myself have not really interacted with it much. How about you? Wow. What did you think about it? Do you feel like it's a worthwhile thing to pursue as like a habit of your life? Hi, Simone, would you like your oracle card? Let's pick it. Simone's oracle card. I'm going to dig deep, deep in here. All right. Here's your oracle card, Simone. Focus on what is important to you. Don't give your time or energy to your worries, as this would only amplify them. Focus on what matters to you most. With every thought, you are creating your future. There you go, my friend. That's your card for today. Me and Zara are just talking about astral projection. Have you ever astral projected? You're welcome, hon. What do you think the you do? See, I was telling her I think I did once by accident. Here's my question for both of you: Where, what is the value in astral projecting? What do we gain by doing that? I'm not. I'm curious what your take is on that, because there are some people that like do it all the time, from what I understand. Some of my cards went up under this little thingy that's holding my camera. There we go. Oh, that's interesting, Sam. I don't know why I have such a hard time with your name, Simone. So you saw something that was meant for you to see. So it was like something that was like meaningful, or it brought meaning to a situation in your life. I think I experienced that more like in dreams, because I do dream quite a bit. Well, actually, I always dream, but some dreams have very symbolic things in them that when I wake up, I know that it was something more than just the dream. Hmm. So you can see like the spiritual properties of another person or yourself, or yeah, like I hear that like you can actually also meet and interact with non-corporal beings as well, like maybe spirit guides. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think if it's something that calls to you, that you should definitely pursue it. It's not harming anybody. There's certainly a lot of people out there that give information on how to do it. Really, it seems. Are you? Would you call yourself a millennial or around the millennial age? Because I notice a lot of people in that age group feel very drawn to Japan. Maybe that's the first place you should go when you get your passport. I just had a crazy thought that astral travel is like the Street View Google Maps version of the spirit realm. Like you can go places and see it through the spirit realm. Gen Z. So are you like um, older Gen Z? I know that I used to teach visual art, and I know a lot of my students were very much into like anime and Japanese culture, and my nieces are the older. Well, I guess I'm not sure when the millennials are, but they're like senior millennials. I know they were really into it. I think Japan would be a nice place to visit. It's not high on my list of like places to visit. Not because it isn't cool. It's just, I think if I were to pick some weird, like just if I could go anywhere just to see the cool sights, it would probably be Egypt in the Middle East. Yeah, there's a lot of places I'd like to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there. Like I would love to visit um, Ireland and Scotland and Wales, but I wouldn't ever want to live there. Too cold. Yeah, I don't know where the lines begin and end there. I didn't used to be a boomer, but now all of a sudden I am. I used to be a whole separate generation, but now I've been grouped in as a young boomer, I guess. It's a really beautiful country. I think you'd enjoy it, just as long as you're okay with earthquakes. Have you ever? I grew up in LA, so I've been through two major earthquakes in my life and many minor ones. Beautiful country, beautiful people. Asia in general. So, we're talking, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, well, not the Philippines so much. Japan, mainland China, um, Laos. They all, in general, they're very nice people. Not Myanmar. What's the name of that place? Indonesia. Different places in Indonesia. I don't know about India. I've never been to India. Do you get tornadoes there where you live? I think you do, don't you? Yeah. I was 7 years old when I experienced the Silmar earthquake, and that was the epicenter was about 10 miles from where I lived. And then I would have been 32. I experienced the Northridge earthquake, again about 10 miles from the epicenter. But that one they had in Russia is the biggest one there's ever been recorded. It was like 8.9 or something on a scale of 10. That's a big earthquake. Okay, so you're affected by hurricanes where you are. We are in the sense that, we get like the downpours and the bad weather. We do get tornadoes that this spring, yeah, this spring I was in my hallway quite a few times when we had the tornado alarms going off. But I've never actually seen one or had one like affect me directly. When I lived in Austin, Texas, Waco, was it Waco? No, it wasn't Waco. Colleen had a category 4 tornado that wiped out a lot of places, but that was 50 miles from where I lived. We do get the severe thunderstorms, though, of course, here. Oh, really? I didn't know that. That was a pretty bad storm. I remember that. It feels like it's been kind of quiet hurricane wise. Of course, I don't think it's hurricane season now, is it? Yeah. And I think if you live someplace where it's not like an immediate threat, people's houses are not set up to withstand hurricane winds and hurricane weather. So that makes it worse. Here we have a lot of people that live in mobile homes, and they are not set up to withstand tornadic weather, or hurricanes. I think my I haven't lived in it, but I think the one city I would never want to live in is Dallas, Fort Worth. I have a friend who lives there, and it's like one giant freeway, one giant highway, all kinds of mixed master, like overpasses, and I just never did care for it. Now, my friend in Pittsburgh, I love the city of Pittsburgh. I don't think I could stand the cold, though. So what are you doing now? You're 18, so did you just graduate from high school, or is it your senior year? Are you working? Yeah. Well, good for you. So you're 18, you are an adult. Do your parents pretty much let you do whatever you want to do? Do you still live at home? They kind of like, you're an adult, you do you. My students would ask me, I don't have a Facebook anymore, but back when I had a Facebook, they want my social media, and I'd always say to them, you have to fulfill two requirements. You have to actually graduate, and you have to be at least 18, and then I'll give you my Facebook. I figure, but some people are emancipated from their parents. Is that hard to have all the requirements of your senior year and then also be working? Or are you balancing it pretty good? I worked while I was in school, but it was a whole different animal back when I was in school. Now y'all have so much homework and uh, so many more requirements to graduate that we didn't have. I went to college when I was 42 is when I finally went to college. Well, that's good. My friend Jeanette, she's a teacher in the Fort Worth school system. She teaches the dual credit courses and the honors courses in English at her school. And we were just talking about how she gets kids in her class because they've already done all their requirements, but they have to be at school because they haven't reached the right, plateau that the state requires. When I was a senior in high school, and this was in California back in, it would have been 1979, 80, I had fulfilled all my requirements, so I actually got to leave after half a day. I don't know if you guys get to do that. So I could just, come in the morning and then leave and go do whatever. Of course, back then they separated the sheep from the goats. If you weren't early on, they'd like test you and they'd determine whether you were on a college track and headed to college or whether you were just like whatever. And I was whatever when I was in high school. That's good. Get all those general requirements knocked out and go straight to your major. That would be nice. Do you want to go to college? I mean, it's not necessarily the best choice for everybody. Do you have like a career goal or some kind of goal that you have that requires college? What would you like to do that requires college? Oh, so you've got several things you're thinking of. I have an acquaintance. She went to college for criminal justice because she wanted to be a private investigator. I think is what her goal was. I don't think she ever actually became one, but that was her goal at the time. Well, maybe you can go to college in a foreign country and kill two birds with one stone and learn a foreign language. Unless you go to an English speaking country. I used to work at University of Tennessee in Knoxville. It's not too far from you. You should check it out because a lot of countries, their college is free. But you'd still have to, come up with money to, pay for your apartment or your food and things like that. And you'd have to be able to speak the language well enough to be able to go to classes. But it's doable. Yeah, I don't remember. It was one of the countries up. It was like Norway or Sweden or Finland. One of those up there. I don't remember which one it was. I actually, this is many years ago, contacted them because I had seen some kind of, I don't know, TikTok or whatever that said that you could go to their free for to go to college free there. And I actually contacted them, said, is it true? And they said, yes, it is, but you do have to still provide for your, your housing and you wouldn't be able to work there. So you'd have to have a outside source of that money. But there's other countries, lots of countries offer free college education. That'd be cool. Well, Zara, I need to get off of here. I've been up, it's almost my hour's almost up. But I should be here on Monday, as per usual. It was nice talking to you. You have a good weekend. Be cool, stay in school. Bye, Zara. And everybody, that is the end of my 1 hour. All right, girl. That is the end of my 1 hour here on my live stream for Sunday. Sorry if you couldn't make it, but I will be back on Monday. So look for the announcement on my YouTube channel. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your weekend and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.